Well, it's always exciting to come to a new place, ain't it? We're down here in southern Missouri, down in the Ozarks, and on some public land. We're just kind of looking around, you know, a little bit, really not doing any, you know, serious hunting today, just kind of getting a feel for the area and, you know, and trying to find a place for the next 2 or 3 days we can do some pretty good bow hunting. But this area right here looks pretty good. So before I take off back in here and look around and kind of get back on where I want to go on the map, I want to just take a moment and talk about something that I think is really important, especially this time of year. You know, we're getting right here in the prime time. We're getting here right in the heart of when every deer hunter wants to be in the woods, you know, and that's that pre-rut stage, okay? But I want to talk a little bit about scent control. Now, you know, there's a lot of videos out there on scent control, and everybody has their own beliefs, and everybody has their own, you know, methods of what they think works. And so when people ask me what I do for scent control, it's so basic that anybody can do this. Now, I don't have hundreds and hundreds of dollars to buy, you know, ozonic stuff and bags and closets and the little box you put up in the tree. Not knocking it, because I really don't know enough of the technology behind ozonics to really give a fair and balanced review on it. But I can tell you what I do and what has helped me over the years, and it's just 3 simple things that I do. So we're going to be talking about this in this video, so you stay tuned. There's just 3 things that I do when it comes to scent control. Now, it's no secret that the #1 enemy that you have out there when it comes to whitetail hunting is their nose. You know, their eyes are probably the weakest of all their senses, to be honest. It's not saying they can't see and you don't want to be up moving a lot, but their ears and their nose is really what you got to get around. And their nose is #1. If you can beat a whitetail's nose, you pretty much, you know, you're well on your way of beating the game with them. But scent control is something that's debated. Everybody has their beliefs and everybody has, but here's the #1 thing, okay? You stink. I stink. It don't matter if you shower 50 times a day out here in the woods to a deer, you stink, and you're never going to be 100% scent free. And any company or anybody that tells you that you are going to be 100% free with their product is scamming you. There are more hunters that get scammed when it comes to scent control than any other line of products out there. You're never going to be 100%. So here's just 3 things that I do. We're going to count down the 3 things that I do that's helped me over the years to beat a whitetail's nose. Number 3, I spray down. Now, when I say spray down, there's a lot of sprays on the market. There's a lot of you know, things that you can buy to spray. People like the odorless stuff, but here's what I like. I've used it all, but here's what has helped me. I use the Fresh Earth spray. I don't use the odorless stuff. I just never had no success with the odorless stuff. I'm not saying it don't work, but I've never had any success with the odorless products. I've never understood the odorless products, to be honest. I want something that is going to cover my scent. So what I do is I spray down and I make sure that the product I'm using, usually I use the Hunter Specialties. It's not a plug for them, it's just what, you know, Walmart usually has. The Hunter Specialties, the spray that's Fresh Earth. It seems like, to me, it just makes more sense to have a dirt kind of smell on your outer garments than it does anything else. So don't buy the odorless stuff, in my opinion. Buy the Fresh Earth stuff, and every single time that you go out to hunt, make sure you spray down. That is something you don't want to forget. Spray down, spray down. Spray down your shirt, your legs. You take your cap off and spray around that. I mean, spray down every time you walk into the woods. To me, it just seems like that helps me more than anything. You're never going to beat their nose 100%, but sometimes I do think that it helps just a little bit to calm them down if they get a little whiff of something and you're sprayed down. You know, years ago when people hunted cedar trees a lot of guys would cut down cedar branches and stick it down in bags and stick their clothes down in bags. And this was years before any of this stuff came out on the market, but they put dirt down in a trash bag and put all their hunting clothes and just, you know, they did that back in the 80s. I can remember that. And so what it was, they wanted that wood smell. So that's what helps me, and I always buy a good spray, whatever you choose, but make sure it's fresh earth. Number 2, and this is really important, and this is something that I have seen work time and time again. What I do is, where it's legal, now say some states, they're getting a little bit nasty about it, so you may want to make sure that you're in a state where it's legal. I use some kind of deer attractant. I use some kind of deer urine, some kind of, something that's got doe and estrus, especially this time of year where you're right there in that pre-rut stage and the does are starting to feel it, and the bucks are starting to feel it. And what I do is I'll get some doe estrus, and I will use a drag rag. I'll take an old piece of rag or a sock and cut it, or just any kind of old rag that's about this long, and I'll wet it down, and I'll take my knife or some kind of scissors or something, and I'll put a hole in it. Take you about a 2-foot string. You know what I'm talking about. We call it a drag rag, but for those that maybe just started hunting, thread it in there, and then tie it around your ankle. Make sure that it's long enough that it ain't getting up against your clothes, because you don't want to go home with all that smell on you. Get it to where it's dragging behind you, and I always drag a rag to where I'm going to be hunting at. Okay, if I have a stand in mind, I'm dragging a rag. Now, once I get there, what I'm doing is I'm going to put that rag up in a tree, maybe 20, 25 yards from me, and I even may have 3 or 4 down in a Ziploc bag. And I may put one here, and I may put one there, all with that scent on it. Now, why would I do that? I use that as a scent buffer. I really do this every single day I'm out there, especially this time of year. I use this as a scent buffer. Years ago, I can remember being a little boy and people using fox pea and coon pea. You could probably still buy it in some stores. But the old fox pea, and it was cover scent, and the cover scent was just to cover your human scent. They smell that fox urine, and they're not too scared of it or whatever. And we used that stuff when I was just little. But to me, smelling a deer is going to be a lot better. So when that scent's going out through there, it just calms them down. And I've actually seen deers come in on me where in a wrong wind, maybe going right to them, and they may get a little bit nervous, but it just calms them down, and it makes a lot of sense. So I use it as a buffer. I just choose to take deer scent and put it out through the woods. And if you don't like dragging it because of CWD or whatever the case, and you're kind of worried about that, just put it up in a tree. Just use the scent to get out in there. And I believe sometimes that may just help calm them down just enough, or it may cause a buck to get a whiff of it and come up and check it out. I've seen it work, and it's something that I do every year. And number 1, and this is the most important thing of all when it comes to scent control. No matter what products are out there, no matter who tells you that their product is 100% or 90% or 80%, whatever the case, whether you use ozonics or any kind of electronic stuff, whether you use the carbon suits, everybody, back years ago, we all got hung up on the carbon suits. And I'm not saying it didn't work, but I had them, and I still got blowed at and all that stuff, and I used it perfectly. I did all the drying it, stick it in the dryer, put it in the carbon bags. I remember one year I spent $300 and some just on accessories for my carbon suit, and I still got winded, and I still got blowed at, and so I knew right then nothing is 100%. Okay, and I'm sure that some of you had that experience too. But here's the number 1 thing you've got to do: Play the wind. It goes back to what we learned when we first started deer hunting. Play the wind. You never cheat the wind. And you know, that is, and sometimes I think that we forget that. We'll go into a stand and the wind's blowing the very direction that we expect the deers to come at. Or, you know, it's just going the wrong way. Go somewhere else. Do something. If you have to sit on the ground, you know, away from, just do something. Don't screw your spots up by hunting the wrong wind. Play the wind. It goes back to the most basic thing we learned when we were first started deer hunting. Play the wind and you're going to be way ahead of the game. Nothing, again, let me repeat it, nothing is 100% when it comes to being scent free. But you play the wind. You know the old saying, hunt high in the morning, low in the evening. The thermals are rising in the morning, thermals are dropping in the evening. And when I'm rifle hunting, you know, I get low in the valley in the evening. I get high up in the morning. You know, we learned that when we were first started hunting. But for those that maybe just started hunting this year or whatever, you know, just something to remember. Play the wind, know where them wind currents are moving. But even but steps 3 and 2, okay, putting the scent buffer up and spraying down, them are for them moments when the wind shifts a little bit, the deer comes downwind, and you got a good buffer out there, and you're sprayed down. Sometimes he'll walk right on by you. Maybe you're a little nervous, but it could save your hunt. So these are just the 3 things that I do personally. Let's go over them again. Number 3, we're going to spray down. Number 2, we're going to put some kind of buffer out in front of us and put a drag rag. And then number 1, we're going to play the wind. If you'll do these 3 things, that's what's helped me over the years, and it might help you. That's pretty simple. You know, and it's very cheap and inexpensive. And you know what? That's what I like. I like cheap and inexpensive. That way I can spend that money that I could spend on all this other stuff to go get tags, to go somewhere else, maybe to a better spot and kill a big old buck. So do them 3 things, and I believe it'll help you. Right now we're gonna load up this camera and get my bow and spray down and do all the stuff we talked about. And we're going back in here and see what's back in here. Maybe something good. Please take a moment to subscribe to this channel. Just hit that subscribe button down the corner. I'd really appreciate it. Also, come and join my Facebook. The link is in the description. Check out my website, DaleOutdoors.com. Check out SpringFeverCustomCalls.com, where you can check out my signature series of turkey calls, my box call, my mouth calls, and also get your official Dale Outdoors T-shirt. I really appreciate your support. It just helps us with the channel here. And also check out SOSO Outdoors and all the other great links that's in the description below. I really appreciate all of you taking that time to check out our sponsors and buy some products, because it just helps us you'll keep the channel going. And we're going to have a lot more content in the weeks to come. Rifle season and the rut is right ahead of us, and we're always looking forward to that. Getting on the road, traveling, and we're going to be doing a lot of deer hunting in the next couple of months. So maybe coming to an area near you. Keep up with the channel, and I'll see you in the next video.